Tenses are one of the most important aspects of speaking English. They open up so many opportunities for you to add information and interest to your conversations. Which one do you use? There's 12 different tenses. So which one are you going to use?
The only way to learn is to talk.
Hi there, I'm Ed Anguish from Speak English with Ed, and today's video is going to help you understand all about the different tenses. So let's make a start. So tenses, which one do you use and why? There's three tenses basically. A tense is a time period, and time is in the past, it's the present, and it's in the future. There's that which is gone, the past, that which is now, the present, and that which is yet to come, which is the future. Now, in these three time frames, you can tell your message in different ways. You can tell it in a very basic, simple way. You can tell it in a continuous action way. You can tell it in what they class it as a perfect tense, or you can tell it in the perfect continuous tense. Sounds complicating. What do they do? Well, you can use the simple tense to talk about things generally, such as I work, I walk, I sleep, I eat. General things that you can use these to talk about. You can do it in the past, you can do it in the future, you can do it in the present, and we'll look at those in a minute. The continuous tense talks about things that you're doing at the time that you're talking about. So you can say, if somebody says to me, what are you doing? I can say, I'm making a video. What are you doing? I'm walking to work. Whatever, you're doing it now. Yeah, that's the continuous tense. The perfect tense links, this is one of the intermediate tenses. We're just getting up a little bit now, because you're linking the past with something that's still true or happening in the future, in the present, sorry, and but it's joining the two together. That's the perfect tense. And the perfect continuous tense is the last two, the continuous and the perfect, together, using those all in one tense. So what do we mean? This looks quite complicated. There's 12 different tenses and they do look complicated. But let's take them one at a time. Let's start with the present simple tense. Why do you use the present simple tense? Well, you use it when you want to talk about things that are generally true at this minute. What do I mean by this? We've already said I walk, but you can use it like I work on a computer. It's true. I do my work on a computer. Now, this tense, when it says I work on a computer, doesn't say that I am working on a computer now. It doesn't mean I'm doing it now. It means that to do my job, I need a computer, and I will need it for the foreseeable future. It also means. So you can also say I live in the UK. I live in the UK. I live in West Yorkshire. I may not always live in the UK. I may move somewhere else, but at the time I'm talking now, for the foreseeable future, I live in the UK. Now you can also use this tense when you want to talk about something that happens regularly. It happens on a regular basis, often it repeats itself. And I've got an example of we eat breakfast at 8 a.m. together as a family, right? So this is something we do regularly. We do it every morning. It's regular, it's routine. It happens every morning. We eat breakfast at 8 a.m. together as a family. We eat. Now these verbs are all the base verbs, nothing added to them, the base verbs. Now we can also talk about things that happen continuously. Now this is similar. You could say that eating breakfast every day, we do it continuously, but I'm more or less thinking Emily breathes 15 times every minute. I don't know. It's something that is happening continuously. It's going to happen all her life. It won't stop until her life stops. She will breathe continuously. So it's something that happens continuous. Now, the past simple, we use this when we want to talk about things that have already happened at some time in the past. Now, this action, I want you to note this, the action when we talk about the past must have started and finished in the past, so it's a completed action that's already happened. Example here is, I worked yesterday. Now, yesterday is a time frame. We've set the time frame as yesterday, not today, not the day before, yesterday. And you can say, I worked. At some point during that day, I worked, and then I stopped working and I finished working yesterday. We're in a new day and I might be working today, but that's not yesterday's work. So we can use a past tense, but it must be something that's completed, right? Or you could say, I worked at a petrol station. Now, this doesn't tell me exactly when you worked, but it's saying that in the past I worked. So this means that sometime before now to the beginning of time, I worked at a petrol station. Okay, if you're not sure about how to put these past tenses together, then there's a link at the top of the screen here, or there'll be a link in below the video here, and that will take you to a video that we did about preparing changing verbs into a past tense. So check that out. So the future simple. The future simple, we use this obviously for times that we're going to be talking about in the future. I will work next Tuesday. Tuesday hasn't come, it's in the future. So you're saying I'm going to work on, or I will work on Tuesday. Now, for this you need to add the auxiliary verb will, right, between the subject and the main verb. The auxiliary verb is sometimes called a helping verb because it helps you understand more about the main verb. So, we shall work at the petrol station during the summer holidays. Now, we can use shall or will when we're talking about the first person. If we're talking about second and third persons, we just use will. But I and we are first person pronouns. This only applies to England, I think. I don't think the Americans use shall at all. So, another way to make the future tense is by adding am, is or are before going to, and putting that in between the subject and the main verb. Show you what I mean. I am going to work next Tuesday. This is the future. Within the future, say I'm going to work next Tuesday. So this is an alternative way of making the future tense. He is going to work at the petrol station during the summer holidays. He is. Now you must make sure we've got the verb to be in here, so you must make sure that you're using the correct form of the verb to be for the subject. I am, he is, we are, you are, they are, it is, she is. You must make sure that you're using the right form of the verb to be when whichever subject you're using. Right, so they're the past, the present and the simple. Now let's have a look at the continuous tenses. When do you use a continuous tense? Well, you use it when you want to talk about something that is happening at the time period or the time that you're actually talking about. For example, I am walking to work. If somebody says to me, what are you doing? I say, I'm walking to work. If you're walking to work. If you were to ask me right now, this very minute, what are you doing? I would say, I am making a video. right? Now, the continuous tenses are formed by adding the verb to be between the subject and the main verb, and then making the main verb with ing, adding ing to the end of the main verb. I am walking, am walking. Or another example, she will be watching the cricket on TV tonight. She will be, this is future, she's going to be, she will be watching the cricket on TV tonight. And if we take this into the past, it's you were driving home when it started to snow. You were. So again, we're using the correct form of the verb to be here, past or present or future or whatever. You need to put the right verb in there. If you want to see how to use am, is and are, check the link at the top of the screen. I'll put a link in the subject in the description as well, so check that out and it will help you understand how to use am, is and are. So that was continuous, past, present and future. Perfect tense. When do you use the perfect tense? This is one of the more complicated tenses. We're going up a level here. We're going up to intermediate English here with the present perfect tense. But perfect tenses talk about something that started in the past and they're still happening or are still true at the time, the period that you're talking about. For example, I've walked to work since June the 1st. Now this means that I started to walk. You're saying I have walked to work since June the 1st. On June the 1st I started walking to work and I'm still doing it. That's what it means. Perfect tenses talk about something that started before the time that you're talking about in your sentence, but it's still true and or still happening at the time you're talking about. I had, now this is going into past perfect, I had spent all my money before the weekend. So we're saying the weekend is the time frame that we're talking about, the time, and you're saying that before then you spent all your money, had, past tense, so it's had spent all my money before the weekend. Make sure that you get the right tenses right, use the right form of the verb have. He will have worked there for 6 years next month. Now we're into the future tense because we're talking about next month, and we're saying that by the time that comes, he started working before then, and by the time we get to then, he will have worked 6 months. It will be true, 6 years, sorry. It will be true that he's worked there 6 years. Now we did a video about the present perfect tense, and if you want to learn a little bit more and understand more about perfect tenses, then check out the video at the link. Again, it will be in the description below this video. So, perfect continuous tense. This is a combination of the previous two, the perfect tense and the continuous tense, and it combines the two together. An example here, I had been working here for 3 years before the takeover. Past perfect tense. So this is saying the time period that we're talking about is the takeover, right? The takeover, whenever that was in the past, but the takeover. And we're saying that before then he had been, so past tense, had been working continuous for 3 years. So we've got the perfect had been and the working continuous to make this tense, and this is the past perfect continuous tense. Now I have been changes the verb, changes it into the present continuous tense. I have been walking to work since Tuesday. So it means I started walking to work on Tuesday and I'm still doing it now. So have been is the present perfect tense, and walking is the continuous tense. I will have been walking to work for a whole week when it gets to Saturday. So Saturday is your timeline. Saturday is the timeline. And you're saying by the time it gets to Saturday, I'll have been walking for a whole week to work. I've been doing it, and I'm still doing it on Saturday. So you'll still be doing it on Saturday. So that's linking. Will have been, so that's the past perfect tense, and walking is the continuous, so that's linking the two together. So that's an overview of the 12 English tenses. It's a lot, and they can be confusing, especially with their naming. You should just think about 3 time periods: the past, the present, and the future. And then think about the way that you want to tell your story, the way that you want the verbs to work for you. Are you just making a statement? Then use the tenses in a simple form, the simple form tenses. Are you talking about something that's actually happening? It's happening now, or it's happening at the time that you're talking about? Well, then use a continuous tense. And if you're talking about something that started happening in the past and it's still happening now, or it's still true, then you use a perfect tense. And if you're talking about combining the two, then you would use the continuous perfect tense together. Whatever it is that you want to say, you will be using one of these tenses, and as you progress your English and your English gets better, then you will find it easier just to flow in and out of the tenses as you go. But one of the things that I can suggest is listen to the television, listen to the radio, listen to YouTube, to what people say, how people talk about different tenses and what they've been doing, what somebody else was doing, and then practice them, copy them, repeat what they say so that you can understand how that particular tense is working. So I just wanted to say that some of these videos on the channel have a downloadable worksheet, and you can access this by subscribing to the twice monthly worksheet, and every video that's got a worksheet will be included in that. We'll send you tips and tricks and information twice a month, Saturday, the first and the third Saturday of every month. So to make sure that you don't miss out on the next video, if you haven't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way YouTube will let you know when we release new videos, and I don't want you to miss out on a video. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. So take care, look after yourself, and practice, practice, practice. Bye.